What up, guys? That Comic Awesome here, doing another review, doing the Amazing Spider-Man number 798. And this is the Spider-Man comic we've all been waiting for. It's good. I liked it. It was well written, and outside of a couple little dialogue things from Spider-Man, it actually was really a really good comic. It was dark. There was depth to the characters, and the very last panel, which, spoiler, I'm going to show because it was awesome. And this is part 2 of the Going Down Swing, but the story arc for this really started probably about 5 or 6 issues ago in the Code Red story arc, which kind of led to Norman Osborn getting the Carnage symbiote, which healed him, and so he is now able to be not only the Green Goblin, but a Carnage version of that. So we start off, and actually I just realized this. Look at this. You have your catch-up page. You have add, your catch-up page, and then another ad. I mean, at least get me into the book before you start trying to sell me on your TV series. But this was the one page I had a problem with in the whole book. And it's mainly because the science columnists at the Daily Bugle are doing the work of whatever the S.H.I.E.L.D. equivalent would be right now, or I don't know, the FBI, or I don't know, any sort of law enforcement or other superhero type agency. But these millennial journalists and this like hipster dad are somehow more well equipped to track tritium than anybody else. So they're using this Doppler technology because tritium affects air pressure somehow. But they notice that it's heading this way, and what I like is Peter is kind of so overly confident that he's like, calm down, guys, it's nothing. He's like, I know it's nothing because if it was something, my spider sense would be going off. And then the goblin just crashes right through the window. And I like to say, I enjoyed the art in this too. And not only just the art, but mainly the shading and the coloring. It really gave depth and like character to, and like just a really good rich feel. Like I was reading this and it absorbed me. I liked it. But anyway, the goblin crashes in. He wants Spider-Man. That's all he wants. So he tells Parker, he tells Peter to say, he's like, hey, look, I know you're friends with the bug. Go get him or everyone dies. But what Pete doesn't know is that Norman already knows he's Spider-Man. And I liked that too. Norman's playing the long game. He's not just crashing in, dishing out secret identities. He knows he wants to make Pete suffer. So anyway, he sends Pete to go get Spider-Man. And then you get this really great panel of J. Jonah Jameson, who had kind of accidentally given Peter up as being Spider-Man to Norman. So this lets me know too that this is all happening after the spectacular Spider-Man run that Chip Zdarsky's doing currently, because it was revealed in that J. Jonah Jameson knows who Spider-Man is. But I couldn't help but read, while I was reading this, and especially reading this panel, draw a total parallel of what's happening in Spectacular Spider-Man right now, specifically issue 302, which I reviewed last week. In that, they time travel Peter, his now confirmed sister, spoiler, now confirmed sister, and J. Jonah Jameson travel back in time to try and prevent an alien invasion. It sounds ridiculous. It works. I promise. It's a good book. But in that, Peter and current day Spider-Man and past Spider-Man defeat Green Goblin and unmask him as Norman Osborn. Well, then Norman storms the Daily Bugle and sees J. Jonah Jameson's computer, and he finds out that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. So it's almost like the same type of things are happening in the present and the past. And so I'm wondering if there's some background wheels happening at Marvel that will make a satisfying payoff. Again, let me know in the comments if you guys think that as well, or what if you guys can kind of draw that conclusion. But it's just something that I noticed. But anyway, back to this. You get J. Jonah. Again, he's really tore up about the accidentally outing Parker. And again, look at the emotion on his face. Like, just stroke it. But so good. Like, the coloring and the shading is wonderful. Meanwhile, the Goblin is kind of like entertaining the staff at the Daily Bugle. He has a bomb, of course, and he's like, look, you have 10 minutes. And then finally Spider-Man shows up, and the fight begins. But I would say that I'm going to skip some stuff because it doesn't really start getting good until here. So the bomb goes off. Spider-Man does what he can to save the building. But who does he not save? But he doesn't save Norman Osborn. And I love this. Like, he sits there and he's like, sorry, I'm sorry. I wish I could have saved you. I really do. And Norman kind of just mocks him a little bit. He's like, you really do, don't you? I'm going to skip kind of what happens, but I just want to show this last panel really quick. So I'm going to summarize, and then, spoiler, I'm going to show the last panel. So pretty much the fight goes not in Pete's direction one bit. He gets his ass handed to him quite heartily, mainly because, again, this is a foe he's never really faced before. His spider sense is not working because this is a symbiote, so it doesn't track it. But Norman gives Pete an ultimatum to say, look, I don't hate you, Peter Parker. I know who you are, though. If you stop being Spider-Man, I'll let you live, and I won't do anything. But if you're Spider-Man, I'm going to kill everyone you love, and not just like kill them gently. I'm going to make them suffer. He's like, I need a sign that we're on the same page, and I like this. So Norman looks out of this window and he sees the Spider-Man shirt burning, and he's kind of laughing, which also the Red Goblin looks awesome. The only thing I didn't understand about this, symbiotes are supposed to not like fire, but he had like fiery breath thing. Side little quibble. But then this is where I had a little glimmer of hope from Dan Slott, and I was like, man, maybe he does get it after all. So, Norman sees this and you think, oh man, Pete chumped out. Like, he's going to just give up being Spider-Man until he's kind of like forced back into it. But then he sits here, he says, burned, beaten, my left leg ripped open, torn apart, useless. And he says, I couldn't last 3 minutes in the ring with you. Spider-Man is tapping out. And you're like, oh, come on, Pete, like, don't chump out. But then he says this, he's like, but where you made your mistake, Norman, is because I'm still here. I'm Peter Parker, the man in Spider-Man. He's like, and I'm the one who's going to take you down. And I love that look. I am really interested not only to see what comes next in this, but how this is going to tie into Spectacular Spider-Man. But yeah, issue 800 is coming up, and I am sure there will be something big in it. So hopefully, keep following along. But yeah, subscribe over here, watch some more videos, hit me up in the comments, let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you next time.